Ever get the feeling? Like the way we measure time, it's a little, arbitrary. Like months named after Roman emperors, and a week that just kind of stops and restarts. Who decided all that?
Yeah.
Well, today, we're diving into a world where timekeeping was anything but arbitrary. The world of ancient calendars. We're using Emmeline Plunket's book as our guide, Ancient Calendars and Constellations. Now, I'll be honest, this one might not be a beach read, but it tackles a question I think we all connect with. How do people across history make sense of time, AD, the cosmos?
Yeah.
So get ready for some aha moments.
Because we're about to uncover some surprising connections across time and cultures. This isn't just about dates on a page. It's about humanity's relationship with the universe itself. Right. And it's fascinating how often we assume that ancient calendars were simple. But what Plunket unveils is the level of astronomical sophistication. That's pretty mind-blowing, especially when you look at the Babylonians. We're talking about tablets, potentially from 4000 BC, some of them copied from even older sources, suggesting they were light years ahead in stargazing.
Okay, so we're not talking just figuring out when to plant barley here. This is next-level stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it gets even more interesting, because Plunket points out that the Babylonians started their year with the constellation Aries, the ram, which is unusual to us today. So what's the story there?
It all boils down to this cosmic phenomenon called precession. Imagine the Earth as a spinning top, slowly wobbling over thousands of years, about 26,000 to be precise. This wobble, or precession, changes how we see the stars over time, even though their actual positions remain constant. So a calendar fixed to a constellation thousands of years ago would look very different from our calendar today.
So like a celestial game of musical chairs, everything shifts over time.
In a way, yes.
So how does this explain the whole Aries New Year connection?
Well, the Babylonians used a sidereal year based on the stars, unlike our modern tropical year, which is based on seasons because of precession. About 6,000 years ago, Aries was lined up
with the spring equinox.
And the spring equinox wasn't just about longer days, right, for ancient civilizations, especially ones tied to agriculture. That change was a really big deal. Absolutely. The spring equinox represented rebirth, the return of the sun, the time to plant. For a civilization as advanced in astronomy as the Babylonians were, aligning their year with such a crucial event makes perfect sense.
So we've got this potential 6,000-year-old Babylonian calendar, starting with Aries. But here's where it gets really intriguing. Plunket suggests this system might not have been exclusive to the Babylonians. She links Aries to Egyptian mythology, particularly the god Amun-Ra. Is she onto something?
There's definitely evidence pointing toward a shared astronomical framework. Now, while Amun-Ra is linked to the sun in general, the book highlights the Apis bull, another major Egyptian deity. The Apis bull aligns with constellation Taurus. The bull, which, interestingly, follows Aries in the zodiac.
It's like a giant cosmic puzzle with these ancient cultures using
the same celestial building blocks.
So we have the Babylonians and Egyptians, both with this Aries-Taurus link. Are there other ancient cultures that might fit into this ancient calendar puzzle?
Plunket certainly thinks so. She points to the Persians and their Nowruz festival, a celebration of the spring equinox. Remember how significant that was for ancient calendars?
Right, the spring equinox, the start of new beginnings. And people still celebrate Nowruz today, which is pretty amazing.
Exactly. It speaks to the longevity of these ancient traditions. Even though our understanding of astronomy and calendars has evolved, the core concepts still resonate. It begs the question, could all these cultures have been working from a similar understanding of the stars?
And hold on, because it gets even more fascinating. Plunket takes us all the way to ancient India and the Rig Veda, a collection of sacred hymns, potentially dating back to 1500 BC or even earlier. She claims there are clues about their calendar system hidden within these texts.
And that's the beauty of the Rig Veda. It's incredibly old. It offers this unique window into the beliefs and practices of a civilization that thrived millennia ago.
Okay, so we're talking ancient hymns and calendars. Did they have verses dedicated to, like, scheduling? Not quite. But remember, for many ancient cultures, astronomy and mythology were intricately connected. Plunket suggests.
Analyzing hymns.
To specific deities for clues on how ancient Indians marked their year. All right. I'm hooked. Which deities are we talking about here? Welcome back. Last time on our deep dive into ancient calendars, we uncovered some seriously mind-blowing connections between how cultures across the world tracked time, from the Babylonians to the ancient Indians.
We're seeing a potential pattern here. Ancient cultures linking their calendars to significant celestial events, suggesting a shared understanding of the cosmos that might be far older than we realize.
And remember those nakshatras, the Indian lunar mansions. You were about to shed some light on how they connect to this ancient system.
Right. The nakshatras, instead of 12 constellations like the zodiac, they divide the moon's path into 27 or 28 segments, each linked to a specific star or star group. Plunket argues their placement wasn't random. She highlights how the starting point of the nakshatras aligns with a specific point in the sky, about 10 degrees west of the star, marking the beginning of Aries.
So they deliberately aligned the nakshatras with the same constellation that marked the start of the year for the Babylonians and potentially other cultures. That's quite a connection.
Exactly. Plunket suggests this alignment might mean the nakshatras are a remnant of that same ancient system we've been discussing.
But didn't you mention that some scholars believe the nakshatra system was established much later, around 600 AD?
Yes, that's the dominant theory, that the Indian calendar underwent a major reform around that time. But Plunket challenges this, pointing to evidence within the Rig Veda itself.
She's going back to those ancient hymns again. I am all ears.
She focuses on hymns dedicated to Agni, a Vedic deity associated with fire. Agni is intriguing because he represents multiple forms of fire. Earthly fire, lightning, even the celestial fire of the sun and stars.
I'm starting to see where this is going.
Plunket argues that certain hymns to Agni refer to the sun in a specific position, a position aligning with where the sun would have been during the winter solstice thousands of years ago, specifically in the constellation Aquarius.
So these hymns could be evidence that the ancient Indians were already tracking the sun's movement through the constellations, including the winter solstice, way before that supposed 600 AD reform.
Precisely, and here's where the nakshatras come in. Plunket points out that if you trace the nakshatra system back 6,000 years, the beginning of the lunar mansion Sravan, associated with the star Altair in the constellation Aquila, would have aligned perfectly with the winter solstice.
Let me try to piece this together. The Babylonian year, according to Plunket, started with Aries at the spring equinox. The Rig Veda hints at a potential summer solstice celebration linked to Indra. And now we have this nakshatra alignment, suggesting a potential winter solstice observance thousands of years ago. It's like they were marking all the major points of the sun's journey through the year.
That's precisely what Plunket suggests, a bold claim challenging our understanding of how far back this potential shared astronomical system goes.
We've explored possible connections from the Middle East to India. Now for the big question. What about China? In the outline, there was a mention of a controversial claim about the Chinese calendar.
Plunket acknowledges that the current Chinese calendar, based on a lunisolar system with a 12-year cycle, doesn't directly align with the other calendars. However, she brings up a fascinating historical record.
I'm ready. Tell me more.
She cites ancient Chinese texts, crediting an emperor named Chunhao, who supposedly ruled around 2500 BC, with reforming the Chinese calendar and tying its start to a star group known as Hai.
Hai? That's not ringing any bells.
It's not part of the zodiac constellations. Hai is a star group in the Chinese system, marked by the stars Beta Aquarii and Alpha Equilae, located in the constellation Aquarius.
Aquarius again. There's definitely a theme emerging here. How does this Hai star group relate to the other calendars?
Plunket proposes that 6,000 years ago, Hai would have been positioned very close to the winter solstice. She argues that if Chunhao reformed the calendar based on this star group, it could mean the ancient Chinese calendar also started at the winter solstice, just like the potential winter solstice connection we see with the nakshatras in India.
Now that's a compelling connection. But if this is true, why doesn't the modern Chinese calendar still start at the winter solstice?
That's where the controversy lies. Plunket suggests the Chinese calendar might have been reset at some point, causing it to lose its original connection to the stars. She presents this as a possibility, not a definitive conclusion, recognizing the complexity of the issue.
It's like these ancient calendars hold whispers of shared knowledge, and we're just starting to decipher their hidden language. Even if some connections are still being debated, the possibility that civilizations separated by vast distances and time looked at the same stars and found a common way to understand the cosmos is incredibly captivating.
Plunket doesn't present these connections as absolute truths. She invites us to consider the possibility that our ancestors were more interconnected than we might think, united by their shared fascination with the cosmos.
It's a perspective-shifting idea, that's for sure. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's delve into what these potential connections might tell us about our place in the universe. That's coming up in the final part of our deep dive into ancient calendars and constellations, so stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into Emmeline Plunket's Ancient Calendars and Constellations.
Yeah.
We've uncovered some possible links between ancient timekeeping systems across continents, from the Babylonians to the ancient Indians, even a potential connection with the ancient Chinese calendar. It really makes you think, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It challenges us to re-examine our understanding of the past, you know? It's easy to view these ancient civilizations as isolated, but Plunket presents a compelling case for a shared astronomical heritage, a connection that could stretch back thousands of years.
It's a pretty awe-inspiring idea. But beyond just the wow factor, what can we learn from these potential connections? What can these ancient calendars tell us about ourselves and our place in the universe?
That's a question Plunket encourages us to explore. One key takeaway, I think, is the importance of living in harmony with the natural world. These ancient calendars weren't just abstract systems, they were closely tied to the cycles of the Earth and the stars, reminding people of their place within the grand scheme of things.
That resonates even today, doesn't it? Especially in our modern world, where we're often so disconnected from the natural rhythms of day and night, seasons, and celestial events.
Precisely. It's like these ancient calendars offer a subtle invitation to reconnect with those rhythms, to look up at the night sky, not just as passive observers, but as inheritors of a long tradition of stargazing and celestial understanding.
And Plunket seems to hint that there's still so much more we can learn. Throughout the book, she emphasizes that her research is just a starting point. She encourages readers to keep exploring, to look for those hidden connections in other cultures and time periods.
Exactly. She sees her work as a springboard, an invitation to ask new questions and to challenge conventional thinking. It's about embracing the mystery and recognizing that our understanding of the past is always evolving.
So what does this all mean for us today? If these ancient calendars truly reflect a shared human experience of the cosmos, what can we learn from them?
It reminds us that despite our differences, we share a common origin, a connection to something far greater than ourselves. For millennia, humans have looked up at the night sky, searching for meaning and understanding. These ancient calendars are a testament to that enduring human impulse, and they offer a powerful reminder that we're part of a much larger story, a cosmic narrative that continues to unfold.
It's a beautiful and humbling thought. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into ancient calendars and constellations. We hope this journey through time and the cosmos has left you with a sense of wonder and curiosity about the ancient world and our place within it. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep looking up at the stars.